things are getting weird in college baseball. Things are getting weird in Houston. The bats are hot in college baseball. We got a cheating scandal. The bats are hot in Houston. Are they going to be hot enough to pull off a win? Let's talk about it on Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedon. Use the code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Before anyone dives in, I know there are those people who are like, oh, why aren't you talking about the game right away? Well, it is currently the seventh inning in this game. So we're kind of backloading the episode so we can get as much of the game occurring before we dive into our discussion. That's why the game is going to be in segment 3. If you wanted to sync it up, I don't know if that's a thing you would do. Comment below if you would do that. It is currently in my broadcast. Stephen Kwan is up to bat. It is a 1-0 count. Just what happened. So just got a ball. Yeah. So that is where we are. College baseball got spicy today. And can I just throw out before we get into how college baseball got spicy? What you and I counted 4 guys set home run records this year. Charlie Condon is an unbelievable prospect. If Cleveland drafts him, great. I'm kind of settling back into it being a 1A, 1B, and I want Pizzano or Condon. But go look at Condon's 30th home run tonight. That shouldn't have been a home run. Like, I've never seen a miss swing turn into a home run. Something is weird in college baseball. And this is not to say that Condon, there's anything funky he's doing. I don't think he is. He's a hard worker. He's a guy who's put in all the work and work to get where he is. Side note, can we stop comping him to Aaron Judge? No one is Aaron Judge. Like the same thing. Like, can we stop can we retire generational talent? I need to stop with it as well. You know who the generational talents are of the 2000s? It's Trout and Ohtani, and that's it. Like, a generational talent by definition can't be something that happens every 5 years. So that's another pet peeve. Condon's
Same thing with Jack. We got a lot of people who want to say that Jack is the next Ohtani, and Ohtani is once in 100-year player, as we're seeing.
Yeah, no one's like
the fact that you're going to just randomly get Jack out of a college a couple of years later. We got to stop that. These guys are good enough prospects on their own. You don't need to do that. But you can't look at every 6'6" player and be like, oh, he's Aaron Judge. No,
And can I be critical of my own network? So the last 3 years I've done the draft show, and the thing I've absolutely hated is, we have these fantastic graphics. Millard at Locked On Diamondbacks does amazing work. He does awesome work. But the comps on him just made my skin crawl every year, because the problem with comps is it's never like a good comp. It's always a ceiling comp, and that is always a dangerous thing. I think like I said, Condon is the 1B to my 1A. I am fine with either dude in the end. Montgomery has a little bit of scary factors, but he's probably 3. And then Smith and Kurtz come in. If you get beyond those 5, I'm going to be disappointed. But I think some of the silliness, like, you can't have a generational talent every 3 years. You can't. Right, the last guy was Harper. For me, Harper, and in the draft, the two
None
guys.
Of these guys are Bryce Harper.
No, was Bryce Harper, who was the equivalent of a junior in high school playing. He graduated super early to go play JUCO ball to be draft eligible. He wouldn't have even been draft eligible until the next draft class if he hadn't graduated 2 years early. He reclassified that early.
Yes.
And
that's
then,
why he was generational.
Yeah. And then Steven Strasburg, like, yeah, he imploded, but man, when he was healthy, like the stuff he did, he was
Paul Skeens.
He changed the draft.
Steven Strasburg.
Strasburg changed the draft. He was the guy who brought more eyes than anyone. So those are just my little pet peeves right now. Again, Condon's fantastic. If you told me he ended up being a 30 to 40 home run guy, yeah, I believe it. I don't think he's going to be a 300 hitter in the pros. I don't. But I think
he may not need to be, but that's okay.
I know. I think he's going to be a very good hitter. I think he's going to be, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
That's why I said yesterday.
I think there's some Adam Dunn in the profile, but maybe with better contact skills and not quite the. Oh, maybe the power. I don't know. Maybe some Adam Dunnish there, but with higher average.
Maybe. That's why I said yesterday, and I continue to say this: is it's okay to nitpick because you're picking one overall. It's okay to be picky here, and pick out the things you may or may not like about a certain player because you want to get this right and you want to make sure you're taking the best player possible, and you're also getting a guy who for sure fire is going to be an impact player, whether it's Smith or it's Condon or it's Bazana or it's Kurtz. Like, those guys all have a chance to be impact players, and it's okay to decide which of those impacts you want them, those qualities you want them to have. They're all going to be good players, so it's okay to nitpick.
It's such a fun year.
The first thing, yes, it's a great year to pick number 1. It's a bad year to pick like number 6 or 7. Or 10.
It's a mid-year. I would say like it's a bad. I love James Tibbs. So to me, there's a top like 12. Once you get outside of 12, not so great.
It's pretty rough, right? So the first story, while we're waiting for this Guardians-Astros game to go on, which, by the way, on my TV, it's bases loaded with Josh Naylor up, so this is a great situation to be in as we're talking live. Cheating allegations in SEC baseball. So we don't have all the specifics yet.
There's two separate ones. 2 separate stories came out today.
I didn't hear about the one you mentioned to me. Let's talk about the hitting one first.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that made the news on Tuesday. Texas A&M head coach Jim Schlossnagel, I'm going to butcher that name worse than you, says the SEC, an SEC school got busted for having a live feed of the opponent dugout all year. And he said, I don't know if people know about it yet or not. I'm not going to reveal it, but they're hitting 306 at home and 206 on the road. I don't know. First of all, if you're a college football fan, I'm sure the team that got caught can just say other teams are doing it. Not gonna point to what that means, but yeah, you could just say other teams are doing it, so we did it. Yeah, so we don't know the teams yet, and I didn't find a good place to go find home road split stats, but some people did tweet out some good stuff out there. Like, we can just put up real quick some of the stats on YouTube, and we'll read them out loud too at some point. But boy, what a spicy allegation! So he just said one. That an SEC team has a camera into the dugout. Very Astros-like. Isn't that apropos, Jeff, that that allegation came out on the day the Guardians are playing the Astros?
Yeah, and I mean, I saw like another comment after that maybe he was talking about like Trackman Data was getting beamed in, that they had access to the Trackman Data of the players performing, that he was intentionally vague in his statements.
Well, this statement came right off of the statement I put on here came right off of his press conference. That was what
it did. And then the guy who like quoted that had some other tweets after it. So the
okay, I didn't catch those, but this was the camera pointing into the dugout of teams all year. So that's interesting. But some of the stats that's I think the draft analyst put out there on Twitter, which by the way, he does really good work. He always got good kind of stuff out there. But he posted these stats out here, and it's got Braden Montgomery, not significant. It is a 984 slug on the road or at home and 744 on the road. But I don't think the Texas A&M coach is going to be accusing other teams of cheating if he is. Condon at home, 1125 slugging, and on the road it's 698. So that's significant. Jack Caglione at home, 1185 slugging, and on the road 833. That's a split.
And I want to point out, I don't think it's Florida for one main reason.
Agreed.
Again, the further comments were about Trackman Data, and Florida's coach doesn't believe in Trackman Data. They don't have a lot of data.
Yeah.
They don't use
Trackman.
They don't have a lot of data. They don't use a lot of advanced data. So if it is, the continued comments were something about Trackman, then it's definitely not Florida. So you can just cross them out.
Yeah, I saw someone put on Twitter these stats, and these aren't verified, so I don't know for sure. But the stats they put out there said that Arkansas was hitting 299 on the road, but at home and 211 on the road. But a lot of people jumped in and said that Dave Van Horn, who's their coach, would really not likely be a cheater. Georgia's hitting, if this says Georgia's hitting 332 on the road versus 2, and the Guardians just blew a bases loaded chance. Will Brennan struck out on 3 pitches, chased a high fastball.
Yeah,
he struck out looking, and Brennan struck out swinging. Brennan, I will say, has hit a little bit of a rough patch here. He had that hot streak in that Atlanta series. He kind of cooled off, and now he's cooling off here.
Down, no consistency.
Yeah, I mean, Florio hit that home run tonight, and people are talking about how they want Florio gone for Kyle Manzardo, and I think that's not the way to go. We can get into that later in the show as well, but
100%.
Just need Will Brennan to be a little more consistent. That's been his issue.
It's just hard with that high swing rate. it's going to be hard to find any consistency.
Yeah, he is just very jumpy. And then with the bases loaded, that wasn't a good look. No. So he had Georgia hitting 332 on home and 251 on the road. That's not a huge split. The one that really stood out to me, Mississippi State,
but it's not doesn't match up the other data.
Right, Mississippi State at 310 at home and 233 on the road. The one that really stood out, though, that's 77 points. The other one was Vanderbilt, 306, 233, which the Texas A&M head coach said the team is hitting 306 on the road and hitting way worse on or hitting 306 at home and 233 or hitting way worse at homes or on the road. So that one kind of stood out. And Missouri has a 60-point difference supposedly too, but Missouri's so bad that if they're cheating, then they're not doing a very good job. But so I don't know. Everybody else doesn't have a big split. Florida doesn't have a big split. A&M doesn't. Kentucky doesn't. Tennessee, Bama, LSU doesn't. So I don't know.
Georgia
the ones that look most suspicious are Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Georgia has a big one as well, but they don't match with what was said. So I don't think it's that much. It does seem to point to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, although Georgia did just play in Texas A&M, so I don't know. But
then
we're not here to point fingers because we don't know.
No, but then we had the other cheating issue, which was the closer from Georgia. Not a closer, a guy who closed out Saturday's game. Moranka. Is it like why am I'm totally having a blank out moment here because I closed the tab. Why would I ever close the tab? But
we can get to that in a minute.
Yeah, when we come back from break, I'll tell this. It's Christian Moranka, who you can just type his name. You'll see the video that went viral that is pretty clearly
it's a pitching allegation, not hitting. So
it is. It's pitching, but it paints a pretty ugly picture for that pitcher today. So yeah,
we'll stay tuned for that, and as we wrap up hopefully wrap up the Guardians game as it's bottom of the 7th. So stick around to see how it unfolds. Boy, the clock to Mother's Day is counting down very, very fast. I was talking about it today, and I was thinking I got to get on what I'm going to get my mom for Mother's Day, and I'm going to take advantage of this DoorDash offer, guys. It's 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail purchase. You can order now on DoorDash. The code is LOCKEDONMLB, all caps, all one word. Do not be that son or daughter going to the store the day before to get a card and some candy and a gift card, or you're just walking around looking for ideas to get inspired. You're sitting there watching TV. Or that husband, you're sitting there on your phone right now, probably listening to us or doing whatever, watching us, and you could easily just go to DoorDash right now and get inspired. So if mom does have a sweet tooth, if she's into something with tech, whatever hobbies, maybe it's gardening, all that kind of stuff, you can do that on the DoorDash app. So get her the thoughtful gift she deserves with the convenience you definitely want to take advantage of. You can choose same-day delivery or schedule a week ahead when flowers and gifts should arrive to her door. Get all your Mother's Day gifts in one place. Get 50% off that order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order with code LOCKEDONMLB. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, all caps, all one word. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply.
And now it's my turn to talk about one of my favorites, which is PrizePicks. Let's look at today's board over at PrizePicks. I will mention every time, what I like about PrizePicks is the fact that it's you versus numbers. It is not you versus someone who is, well, no offense, the guys who are really good at daily fantasy are smarter than all of us. They have the spreadsheets. They have the advanced algorithms. They have that data that, frankly, I don't always understand. A good one today, Yainer Diaz, hitter score of 7 or less. Was he involved in that fight? Did he get a lot of hits in?
He was
not,
know. Thankfully. No.
In that one. You could just select more or less on that one. You had Riley Green, by the way, sleeper candidate for MVP, Riley Green, 7.5 hitter fantasy score off of this. I kind of like William Contreras at a 6.5. He's been really good, I can say, as a local Milwaukeean. So it's just as simple as more or less. Now, yeah, hitter score are maybe things you don't know, but you can also have things like wins, losses, RBIs, all your traditional stats too. Make sure you check out PrizePicks every day to see if there's a chance for you to have some fun, make some money. Download the app or go to the website and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, all one word, for a first deposit match of $100. That's free money. Again, go to their app or their web store and use the code LOCKEDONMLB, all lowercase, all one word, for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Game 2 of the Guardians and Astros series at 8:10 Eastern. You can listen to all of the action on your SiriusXM app. Just search Guardians. Okay, very quickly, mentioned the other cheating scandal in the SEC with Georgia, and then I'm going to bring up one more point about a college pitcher, and then we're going to revisit some trades because the Guardians are playing against the player they traded to Houston, and good time to look back about how that trade's working out so far, and we'll check in on some other guys that have been in malign trades as well.
Yeah, so like I said, Christian Marenka of Georgia, John Boy, like, is one of the places. Barstool Sports, have really been running this out there. Kind of got picked up by everyone. And the video, he appears to like go and hide in a corner and then be putting stuff on his thumb, I believe. So you can go check that out, judge for yourself. It's not a great look. Like, no matter, and like one of the ones is like one of the websites, what should the SEC do about the latest Georgia baseball scandal? So yeah, there's some stuff going there. He wasn't caught in game, but the setup to it definitely turned into a viral sensation. I know I found out about it because my ESPN app sent me a push notification. Like, it got pushed out by ESPN.
I didn't get that. That's interesting. So with all this going on, we don't know who the accused team is in this cheating scandal about access to a camera and a dugout and home road splits.
So we definitely kind of pointed to.
I mean, those are unofficial stats. We don't know. Yeah. I think there's a couple candidates. I don't think we know for sure. I haven't seen anything definitive yet. I'm sure someone who reports on SEC baseball will figure it out. But all the more reason to like Hagen Smith, I think.
Yeah.
If there is somebody cheating in baseball and they tried to cheat against Arkansas, not great.
He's not doing you any good.
Hagen Smith is just killing everybody.
He is. And
we talked about it yesterday. I'm coming around. I think. It's a bat heavy year, but if you can get a bat down to 36, Hagen Smith's not a terrible option at 1-1.
No,
it's weird, but it's not terrible.
Okay, no, that's fine. Sorry. But yeah, no, he's just been really, really good. Like, there's no way around it. Like, and we talked about college baseball is weird right now. I know you were talking about some of the stats and you had them. I think my favorite one in there is like Christian Moore. We know it's
crazy.
Not. Yeah. Like, and Christian Moore, by the way, it's not Tennessee because most guys prefer to hit better. He has almost doubled his OPS on the road is at home. Super athletic, and he set his school home run record, just like Travis Bazzana set his.
That's 5. That's 5. I forgot about him. That's 5.
He said his, just like Condon said his, as Kurt said his yet. I mean, it's just, man, it was a quick inning. I blinked and it was over. But it's just, there are so many guys just obliterating baseballs at a level we have never seen. So Hagen Smith and Chase Burns stand out. I really dug through the data, and Trey Yusevich is great as well, but he's not pitching at the high level as these other guys. It's a smaller conference. ECU,
right?
I mean, that's where Gavin Williams was. They produce pitching. Jeff Hoffman has been a major leaguer. So it's still a good program, but it's not quite the same level. Like, that's why I like Ryan Prager. Condon took him deep last week. That's another positive for him. When we talk about, positive, hitting off the guys who stand out. But Prager and Holman are the two other guys. Someone asked about Ryan Johnson. I think he's a reliever. And Dallas Baptist against smaller conference.
It could be a third round guy as a reliever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Him and Tyson Neighbors are relievers to watch.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so since the Guardians are in Houston playing against Yainer Diaz, that was a good time to look at this trade a little bit further, because you and I were pretty down on Yainer Diaz, and they traded him because he has the Oscar Gonzalez approach. It's a very swing-heavy approach. He doesn't walk. He's got good power. He always had good power in the minors, and he's got a great arm. He's always had a very strong arm.
It's also the Salvador Perez approach.
Yeah, it's Salvador Perez, which, again, some of these are unicorn type profiles, and sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't. And like, just looking at Yainer Diaz's Savant page, number one, let's just say right now, the Guardians lost this trade through and through. They lost no matter what happens here.
And
Phil Maton wasn't very good for the Astros, but Diaz is decent at this point, and Myles Straw is not part of this team.
Yeah,
so
and I got this trade wrong. And I got this is people talk about like, oh, you give yourself too many flat. Well, I'm also going to be the first to admit, like, I got this one wrong because I didn't like the approach and I didn't think he could catch. So this is a massive.
No, I didn't either. Yeah, he still swings very aggressively. He is. He swings at 53% of pitches, and actually the league average is 46 this year. So he's an aggressive player. He's not going to walk a lot. He has power. I think he's going to have years where his BABIP is going to hurt him, and he's going to have very low OBPs. He's going to have low average. He's going to have some pop. This year, defense, if you look at the metrics on Savant, they're not great. He's not doing a great job defensively this year. Last year, he was great in erasing some stuff. He was not good at framing, but the pop time is great. His arm is incredible.
Pop time, I think, is bugged though on there. Like we talked about this before. Like, pop time is it's like he's at 1.97 at 44th percentile, and then we were looking at someone the other day who was over 2, and his pop time was in the red. So I think something is up in general on that side.
Well, I think it also just depends. It's compared to the rest of the league too. So that
it is. But I mean, this was like yesterday. Like I don't see how one guy being 10 seconds faster would be in the red like a day later. So I think there could be a bugged piece there. But yeah, his blocking has not been as strong so far, but we'll see.
All of it hasn't been as good this year. He wasn't a good framer last year. His pop time, it says 44th percentile, but he's still below 2. And
his framing is bad. So, but yeah, his blocks above average were strong a year ago. That's what it was.
He's going to be a decent player for a long time. I don't think he's an all-star, but I think he is a good player, and obviously.
And his percentiles aren't as good this year as last year, but I mean, last year everything was red. This year,
he's Salvador Perez light. That's a good way to look at it. He's Salvador Perez light. So Guardians lost that trade. All right, which we're also going to talk about the Nolan Jones trade, which we're going to reopen that wound a little bit, but he just went on the injured list. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about Will Benson trade a little bit, and we'll also pepper in some comments on this game as this is going to the top of the 8th. And yes, and they're down. It's still tied 8-8. So all coming up. Jeff and I were so competitive we couldn't decide who gets to talk about Monopoly Go. I am enjoying. I got to be honest. Yeah, the other day before we started recording, I went through and I even got extra dice rolls because I was having so much fun. I was knocking out people's properties. I was collecting money. I was building a lot of different things. It was super cool. I have to be honest. I was really enjoying seeing how much money I could build up, what I could build up. What's that?
It has an addictive loop to it, like in not in the bad.
It is
like just like I talk about like a lot of video game. It's just a
it's very easy to just
play in bursts, which I think is good. Like I just started it, so I'm going to put it on auto roll and put it to the side as reminded me, so I can have it just kind of doing some things. Oh, look at that! Going to go smash a building or two.
That's really fun. You can rob people's money when you do that. You can knock down what they've built on boards. You can play on different boards. You can put yourself ahead of them by knocking out the things they have built and build your own bridges and hotels, all that kind of stuff. Team up with friends for time tournaments, work together to build up their boards. If you don't want to be as competitive, but the more you win together, the more prizes you unlock, and you've got all kinds of fun stickers you can trade as well. It's a new twist on old classic. Always new things like timed events that help you win big, massive multipliers for everything you win or rent Frezzies. There is always something fun to discover Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and get competitive and go download it free in the Google Play or App Store. Monopoly Go, game on. Game 2 of Guardians Astros in Houston. See who wins game 1 first, as we're still recording live.
L'Oreal just walked.
Check that out. Yeah, you can check that out. Game 2 on your XM app. Just search Guardians on Sirius XM. Nolan Jones, Jeff, just went on the IL with a back injury. Good time for him to rest up because, man, is he having a very, very, since we're talking about the Yainer Diaz trade, we're going to talk about these other trades.
Can we talk? Listen, people know I've got a bit of an axe to grind with Jim Bowden, who was part of like some shady dealing in Washington and then some shady things in terms of like Twitter and other stuff, who like said he was going to win a batting title. I love Nolan Jones. I had him as a top 15 talent in his draft year. I kept him number 1 when everyone moved him off of number 1. When people talk about Tyler Freeman,
give him credit for,
yeah, but when people were like putting Tyler Freeman at 1, I kept Jones there, and he was fantastic a year ago, and I love seeing it because he's also by all accounts a great dude, super athletic family. His sister is a really good softball player, I want to say as well.
Brother in hockey,
and I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be a good player, but he had a 400 BABIP a year ago, and we warned about this in the offseason, and it's been ugly. One could argue he wasn't healthy, but there was regression coming.
The strikeout rate is way up.
Yeah, and not that Brito has been all that great in AAA.
No.
He's been Cleveland still has a ways to go to balance out even like 1 year of Jones from a year ago.
Right.
But
we did warn about the regression for sure.
Yeah.
He'll be a good player. I still believe in Jones will be a good player, but I think 100%. People really definitely kind of Colorado
like can be an MVP candidate was just like blew my hair.
Right.
Challenge for a batting title. I love Nolan Jones, but he was a guy I gave the Adam Dunn comp to. I'm like, he is Adam Dunn light. Like that was like,
he's also very passive too.
Yes, which is part of that. Man, Naylor, how many strikeouts is that today?
It's at least 2. So I don't know. People have been saying about wanting to move Florial out for Kyle Manzardo, and I have to say I don't think it's Florial. I think it's one of Rocchio, and I don't know. Like I said, Brennan has kind of gone backwards again. He had that hot 2-week stretch, and now he's kind of faded. I don't know. Considering that was a swing and a miss on a changeup in the zone, that wasn't even chasing out of the zone. He's got a hole in his swing right now. I hate to be. I don't want to sound crazy saying this, but I think he might be at a point where he might need a breather in AAA to work on some things, and you go with David Fry every day, and that opens up a spot for Manzardo there too. I mean, it's him or Rocchio. Rocchio has been a little better. I think he's been a little more patient lately, but if you move down Rocchio, you still need a backup infielder. If you move down Bo for Manzardo, you still have 2 catchers. So just something to think about. Or you could move down Laureano and bring up
over 3 strikeouts. Yeah, he's the only guy hitting under 200.
He's
got like almost a 40% K rate. It's
rough. He
did struggle on his promotion last year as well. So
then he got it together. Yeah, I don't think he'll be doing it anytime soon. But like if this continues into like the 2nd or 3rd week of May, you might want to think about it just for his own sake. Send him back down to try to regain some confidence and work on some things.
How long can you keep Manzardo down? He homered again tonight, a homer and a double.
And he doubled too. I know. And the homer was on a changeup, which is a pitch he's been struggling with. So it was good to see as well.
Just for the sake of that pop time thing, yeah. So he's still in the red at a 2.2, even though that is a slower time than
Diaz. That's
Yainer.
Weird.
So that is broken on there.
It must be. So Will Benson for Steven Hajar and Justin Boyd. Will Benson also not having a great start to 2024. Another guy who I think got a little overhyped. I mean, look, the Reds did a great job with him last year. They limited his
they set him up
lefties
for success.
They did the right thing with him. And this year, the BABIP has kind of gone back to average. It's 327. Last year was 391. And he's striking out back almost to 40%, which I think he'll actually get under control because his swinging strike rate says it's 15.5. So generally you're supposed to be about double that, give or take a few points. So he's probably striking out at a 35% rate based on that, which is closer to where he was last year. And he's still got power. He's still got speed. He's still a good defender in center field and right field. I believe in Will Benson. He's going to be a good player for quite a few years here, but doesn't matter because the Guardians lost this trade too, because Steven Hajar, he can point the strike zone out on a map, but he'll never go there. And Justin Boyd, I just don't think is ever going to be anything. But
Steven Hajar,
the strike zone might as well be a foreign language to him.
Who has a harder time finding the strike zone right now, Hajar or Clemmy, in terms of big lefties with electric stuff?
I mean, they're the blind leading the blind right there, man. Not great.
And then Boyd, you have to point out, 2nd round pick out of Oregon State. Like they keep collecting those Oregon State guys, but it's been ugly. That's another.
That
guy
is not one I would point
like
to
that.
as a good track record. So
no, well,
as
not
far
for him,
as
but just
this Guardians game,
them adding those guys.
No, as far as this Guardians game is concerned, we're running out of time, and the game is in the bottom of the 8th. It's a tie game. Carlos Carrasco, good start in terms of the first 2 innings, and then after that, look, the ball. He had some walks. He had a hard time putting some guys away, and then that ball that hit him, that glanced off his leg and went to shortstop. If it doesn't hit him or his glove, it's double play. It wasn't, and then things just came off the rails at that point.
He's been playing with fire in every single game. It was just a matter of
his
when
whip
it implodes
is like 2 something.
Yeah, it's bad, and his ERA is almost 7 now, and like we need depth. I get that, but like I don't know. You got to have your 5 best starters. I don't see how Cookie's one of them. I just he would pass through waivers in a heartbeat. No one's going to take a gamble on a guy who's clearly cooked. He's a burnt cookie right now. I love Cookie to death, but he's 37.
Maybe you put him in the bullpen.
No one gets better
somehow.
at 37. That's the only other thought I had. It's like, well, he started out well, but he's still nibbling even at then. It's like he just doesn't have the ability to work in the zone anymore.
His slider missed bats in this game, and then actually his 4-seam fastball was 94, which is the hardest he's thrown all year. It didn't stay there, but I saw one at 94. So maybe he's the guy you can get 2 innings out of, and that's it. Maybe he is an opener. I don't know. That's about all that I can think of with him. Is the Guardians might want to consider having an opener for him, or an opener for him as an opener or something. I don't know at this point, but give the offense credit. They had the 3-run homer from Josh Naylor, and then after that, the Hunter Brown shut them down, and then they came back and they got a home run from Andres Jimenez, which was good. Stephen Kwan tripled. The offense kept coming back, so that was at least good to see. So no matter the outcome of this game, because I don't think we're going to be able to finish recording by the time this game ends, but the offense came back in this one, and as soon as the bullpen came in, knock on wood, the Astros stopped scoring. So the game's not over as I'm saying those words.
Multi-inning reliever.
Yeah, I mean, he's out there for a second inning right now. He has only thrown 8 pitches at this point, so that's awesome to see. But yeah, no matter the outcome of this game, I know people are going to look at the Astros record and be like, well, they're not good. They should be beating them. Still the Astros, and Altuve's having a great year. Bregman's gonna be okay. Alvarez is great. Tucker's great. Pena's off to a great start. We just talked about Yainer Diaz. The bottom of their order is kind of shaky, and their bullpen's a little shaky, and they're getting some of their pitchers healthy. But the Astros are a better team than their record says they are. So this is still a good team to go out there and fight with, and that's what they're doing.
I like how Altuve just gave Jimenez a hug.
I mean, they're both in Venezuela, so I mean, I'm guessing that's
yeah, I'm guessing there's some of that there. Yeah, it's
Jeff. Tomorrow we got an interesting concept for a show.
We do.
So it's going to be a month in, more than a month, 1+ months, and 30 games in. So we'll revisit where the Guardians are after 30 games, what we've learned, what we think is going to happen going forward, what needs to happen going forward. We'll give a couple of recaps that we missed in this game as well.
Because tomorrow will be that 30th game. So we'll be there. It gives us a good chance to kind of reflect, see maybe where improvements needed, and figure out how we can get Cal Manzardo on this roster. Because I mean, as much as we made the debate yesterday for it, it's like every single day it gets harder and harder to make that point. But again, aren't we so we talked about trades they might have lost. There is a trade that is looking like they won massively. Hopefully that will be the case. Thank you all for joining us, rating and reviewing, downloading. It helps. Shout out to Everydayer, Smokey Gator. I love that we had a fun Discord in the end. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you all who are Everydayers, and go Guardians, go.